What's going on, folks? Eddie Carrington, Mayor of Flux City, and today I'm at the Constructing Futures exhibit in downtown Detroit. This is an exhibit that highlights how AI and automation can change what construction looks like in the near or far future. There are a lot of pieces of art on this wall that kind of depicts what it may look like if we were to incorporate automation and AI. And as you can see here, you got a robot walking around doing some of the skilled trade work. In other pictures, you have machines and drones that are lifting up different material and even installing or doing some of the labor of what a typical man or human body would do. And in general, these concepts are really intriguing to me as a self-proclaimed techie and one that has tried my hand at a few tech startups in the past. AI has always been intriguing to me, but when you kind of incorporate it or try to incorporate it into the construction side of things, that's where it really draws my attention, especially now with the space that I'm in. With that said, in theory, it does make a lot of sense to incorporate automation, to incorporate AI in some capacity, specifically around the architectural side of the built environment. But it's really hard to implement that type of application in the real world. And we do see it happening. Via modular is one example where you do have kind of automation in place in order to build these boxes that may be bedrooms or kitchens or hallways to an overall larger project. But when it comes to AI and having robots carry your concrete for you, or to have drones hoist up certain things to the 40th or 50th floor, which is doable, but in reality we're still using manpower to do the install of these larger projects that can be done modularly, but just with regard to the many challenges, still heavily rely on skilled trades that are human bodies. And AI is not something that I feel can disrupt the construction industry from a standpoint of lessening the amount of man hours that you need in order to put a project together from start to finish, with exception to, once again, the architectural side. But outside of that, you're still going to need those human bodies present in order to construct the facilities that you are putting together. You're still going to need those skilled trades that know what they're doing in order to put together certain things and to avoid certain challenges when it comes to long-term issues with an overall structure that no plan can kind of get you around. No robot or no AI can kind of help you avoid. And so I'm just here to once again view these amazing pieces of art that have been submitted from across the world, and also to see this pretty cool stage that they built. I missed the talks a few days ago, but I really like the idea of incorporating this type of built environment to create an atmosphere that really feels unique when it comes to talking about these types of topics. But in general, once again, I'm not too sure that AI is going to disrupt the construction industry as much as it in theory it may sound like it could. And similarly with automation in the construction realm, not necessarily sure if we're going to see a vast swing in the amount of bodies that are still needed on a site in order to put together a facility in the near term or even in the long term. I think we're always going to need to have that human touch when it comes to putting together these types of projects that we're talking through with you via these weekly events. But I would love to know what your thoughts are regarding automation, regarding AI and construction. So please comment below. So this week, I actually had an opportunity to talk about my project at the Real Estate Association of Developers, or READ Detroit. And this is basically an organization that focuses on empowering minority developers by providing a numerous amount of support, whether it be through mentorship or through conferences or through monthly events or tours throughout the city of projects that are being done by diverse developers. And the event that I was at was specifically focused on tax credits, historic tax credits, and new market tax credits. And I'm not necessarily going to spend too much time on my discussion. I just want to introduce you to David, who runs and leads the organization that is very, very helpful and instrumental in really assisting minority developers who want to kind of level up, get introduced to different developers of color, different opportunities and resources. And with that said, David Olate.
Is this anyone's first time at a READ meeting? All right, let's give a warm round of applause. We've been building something really special, very unique here. So I'm excited for you guys to join us. So who we are, we stand for the Real Estate Association of Developers. And quite simply, we were founded by Jason Jones and Alicia Moss in 2018. And there was a lot of hoopla around the George Floyd situation, and there were a lot of commitments made to our communities. Instead of creating a new organization, we expanded the mission of Jason and Alicia's organization. The initial intent was to provide resources, kind of access, networking opportunities for aspiring developers. We expanded the mission to include an advocacy component, to be a full pipeline representation of Detroit developers, not only aspiring developers and folks looking to learn, but the biggest developers we have in the state. And we have a slide and a couple slides that speak to this breadth of experience that we have. So as we say, we don't want to just be on the receiving end of policy as it affects how development happens in our community from a financing, from a structural perspective. We want to be on the front end of shaping how that policy is made, and we'll have an update on some of the policies that should be coming up from a taxpaying perspective in a few weeks here. What have READ members done? So our membership, we're about 150 members now. Our members have created over 8,000 units of housing, $2.4 billion of real estate. We've got about 155 members and nearly 9 square feet of real estate developed. So that's a pretty big number. Those are pretty big numbers, and I think we've only just begun. So we got a lot more to do. I think we've got right access. This is who we're led with. These are the folks that have the privilege to serve READ. So we've got some really good-looking people on this slide. This is our READ Executive Committee and our Junior Executive Committee. This is where a lot of the work of READ happens, particularly. This is how we're structured. If folks want to get more involved in the operations of READ, I want more of these opportunities, please feel free to reach out to me, reach out to Cece, reach out to Jarius or Brittany to find ways to get involved. Let's move on. Membership. Thank you, Jason, for that plug. So these events aren't free. We try to have catered events every week. None of us get paid, but the organization obviously needs funding to get paid. So your membership dues are a critical part for making that happen. So it's $125 a year for now. It may go up, but for now, $125 gets you access not just to these events, but we have an online portal. So that portal, we like to keep these events, particularly general body events, we want them to be private and intimate. We want people to feel comfortable sharing, both the panelists as well as audience members. So they're not recorded, but we do have presentation materials. We do have some material, whether from the presenters, the panelists, other resources that come about that are downloaded onto your private redevelopment portal. And that membership allows you to get access to that as well. We've got a full calendar. So we talked about the Gut Rehab Land Bank 102 training special on the 28th. We've got our biannual Black Developer Bus Tour on the 10th. That's going to be massive. We're going to have 2 READ members on that tour. One will be a mixed-use grocery that's coming, I think, on the northwest side. And then we have Richard Hosey's a really massive development that you guys are gonna love. I think it's $150 million. It's a site that no one thought would ever get done. We've got two Black developers, Richard Hosey and who's his partner? And Greg Jackson. Greg Jackson are leading that charge. It's gonna be amazing. You don't want to miss that. November, we've got a live tech training. So again, we want to get you guys real tools that you can use to finance your deals. READ member and Junior Executive Committee member Brandon Hodges will be leading that event. On the 16th, we have another granular training, and we will end the year with our annual READ holiday party. It's always a good time and free with membership. All right, so we talked about the advocacy work that READ is doing. Particularly Jason Jones can't be here tonight, and also Roger Carterman, but they've been really instrumental in putting forward a revamp of Pilot. So as many of you guys know, one of the massive issues with Detroit development is property taxes. And property taxes being way too high relative to your cash flow, making deals very difficult to pencil. We do have certain measures in place like Pilot, but the pilot process can be very cumbersome. It often involves city council intervention. It becomes very political. It drags out pre-development. The longer pre-development is, the bigger carrying costs are, the more expensive development is. So as we're looking to shrink pre-development, and we're looking to make tools more efficient for us to use to make our deals work, we've been, READ leadership is working with the mayor's office and working with city council folks to revamp how Pilot is done. This is a brief overview of how it looks, and we'll make sure this is in your portal so you can spend some time and look at it. But the short of it is actually a more fresh update. The way it will be structured is if you have a development and your units are below 60% AMI, your property taxes will be approximately 1% of your rent. So that's massive. If you have a development with the average rents between 60 and 80% AMI, your property taxes will be capped at 4% of your rents. If you have a development in excess of between 100 and 120%, your property tax will be capped at 7%. Everything below 80% will not require city council approval. So it will just be, you have to check the box, you have to meet with the city, you have to get administrative approval with that process to get an abatement into your deal to make sure it pencils and cash flows where we need it to, and to spur development should be much more simplified. So the mayor is making an announcement on Tuesday about this pilot event. I think Rod Hardman will be joining him on stage to advocate for it. After that's announced, we'll make sure the mayor doesn't switch it up too much. I'm sure he won't. But we'll look to get READ support as we get through city council. And we'll all be reaching out to city council members. We have relationships to explain why this is really important and how this actually directly links the creation of affordable housing into the tax code to make the development more efficient. So it just makes literally the development of the housing that we need the most in our community happen faster, happen cheaper, and more.